All right, and we're gonna go in 3, 2, 1. Welcome. Did you disappear, Dale? Are you there? Dale? Dale? Dale, you gone? What the hell just happened? Dale?
You're outnumbered, you're outnumbered. They're threatened by what makes us unique. I see it everywhere. You're outnumbered, you're outnumbered. Now is the time for action. I see it everywhere. You're outnumbered, you're outnumbered. We're too busy fighting each other. I see it everywhere. You're outnumbered, you're outnumbered.
Welcome to Who's This Season 3 with Ashley, Episode 2. So this is the second episode, and I'm telling you, I know last week was crazy with Lynn, but we're going to switch it up. Last week we did some podcasting. Now we're going to learn how to make business mistakes and learn from them. This is Dale over here. My boy Dale is what I call him the Daily Llama, because he gives daily advice for people like me who are young and in business, and we just keep fucking up, and we do it, because we're young and we're learning and we know everything. But Dale here is going to put your ass in gear when it comes to doing money things, and that is his job. So Dale, hello, how are you?
I'm fucking awesome, frankly, just fucking awesome.
See,
right.
That's
right?
How you respond,
right?
Because no one cares if you're doing bad. I'm just kidding.
No one cares but you, and why not? I'd rather be fucking awesome than anything else. Yeah, great to be here. Thank you, Ashley. You're the one who gave me the inspiration for the Daily Llama podcast name. So I'm actually working on that right now and everything else. Right. I thought it was pretty fucking funny. Somebody says, "What's your podcast?" This is the Daily Llama. They laugh their asses off. But go ahead. I digress.
Awesome. So Dale, tell everybody how you got to become the Daily Llama. Where did you start? How'd you get there?
Let me give you the 50,000-foot overview, and we can dive in anywhere you'd like. And yeah, I'm 48 tomorrow. Nice.
Oh!
Well, yeah, nice. January 17th, I'm turning 48.
Woo, woo.
Yeah, 47 right now. And I've been doing business since I was about 21 years old. So what I have is a very awesome, epic, extensive library of fuck-ups. And I basically have fucked up more than most of my friends or most of the people in business that I know. And that's how I've gotten to be successful. I mean, I'm sitting at a level of success and experience because of all the fuck-ups. So whenever I want to get more successful, I just go out and start fucking up some more. It's a great way to go.
I say this, I say this to people, and they look at me like I'm retarded, because I don't believe that anybody's stories are the same. Like, nobody's success story is the same. Not even twins. Mary-Kate and Ashley even have completely different success stories. So I got to make mistakes, man. I got to go out there and live. I know there's some good advice people can give, but at the end of the day, it really comes down to just making mistakes. So what's one of the first mistakes you ever remember making in business?
I was buying apartment complexes when I was 26. I bought like 250 apartments over 2.5 years. And I didn't have any money, didn't have good credit, didn't know what I was doing, but didn't stop me from trying. And so I just went out and started fucking it up. I said, I want to buy that. And I'd work out a deal with the seller. I would buy an apartment complex. And one of the first things I learned, I had these crappy tenants in some of these places, and I kick them out because I didn't want to deal with them and I wanted to fix them up. One of the first things I learned was, don't kick out everybody so fast because you have no money to fix up what you're trying to rent out. So,
get out!
Get out! Oh, pay me! Wait,
come back! Come on!
I've actually done that. I kicked somebody out and came back to them later, and they were like, well, I still have a place to live. And I was like, well, if you pay another month's rent, then you can stay here another month, and I can stay here I can keep business going for another month. So I've actually done that. Come back.
Wait, I need you.
Yeah, wait. So that was a really interesting one. Then I went on. So my very first business was, I was 21. I was in Alaska, and somebody said they're opening up a new fishery. It's called scuba diving fishery. And if you're a scuba diver, you can go down and pick up sea cucumbers off the bottom floor.
In Alaska?
Yeah. And put them in a bag and sell them to the cannery, and we ship them to Japan and sell them. And I was like, I'm in. What is it? Scuba dive. What? I've never seen a sea cucumber. And so I basically went out, just bought scuba diving gear. After I got it, I went and found somebody who could teach it to me. Then I went down and dove, and I started diving, and I rented a boat and hired a crew, and I was Captain Dale and went out and started picking up sea cucumbers off the bottom of the ocean. And boy, every day was like a constant fuck up. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, that didn't work. But we just kept working through every single screw up. And eventually I got to the point where I was doing like $1,000 a day, picking up sea cucumbers off the bottom of the floor and selling them to the Japanese. And it was awesome. And I did that at 21. So, and I was a commercial fisherman for about 5 years. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. But it's definitely a young man's game. That's a lot of work. So when I was about 26, I started buying up apartment complexes. And when I was about 29, I moved to Dallas and started buying up non-performing mortgages direct from banks. And then I fucked up that a lot. Oh, man.
Sounds like something that's difficult.
Yeah. And then I took a company public, raised about $90 million, and started buying non-performing mortgages all over the country, direct from banks, and for about 25 cents on the dollar, and grew that for about 5 years, and then sold off my position and moved to Albuquerque, which is where I live now. Then in 2012, started a company that sold, we did supplements online from 2012 till last year or so. In the last 4 years, we've done about $85 million in sales online. And, in order to do that kind of scale and scope, it's like a running firefight with fucking up. So we blow up a merchant account, we blow up a product, we blow up a web page, we melt a server. I mean, there was just, we had a bunch of employees. It was just like a constant thing. So I've done a lot of different things. I've launched about 16 different businesses now, online, offline, bunch of different things. So I've had an opportunity to screw up a lot. And the thing that I think most young people should know is when an older person like me gives you advice, it's really to do one of two things: either to motivate you to take action in the first place, or try to cut down on your painful learning curve on the back end. It's one of those two things. So we're either trying to kick you in the ass and say, don't be afraid of starting, get started. Yes, you're going to fuck up. It's never going to be perfect. Even when you're successful, it's not perfect. Fucking do it. Or we say, so I see you fell flat on your fucking face. Here's a Band-Aid. Here's how to not fall as often, but don't stop, right? So really, as older guys and gals, there's some women here too that do this. When we mentor or try to give advice, really the advice is we had these very painful fuck-ups, very painful experiences. I paid for them in cash and blood and sweat and tears. Let me at least try to either motivate you to do something and change your life, or at least shorten the cycle of pain that you have to go through yourself. And so, I mean, there are times when we lost like $2.5 million one year with a bank screw up. And that just like that one episode just like rips a couple $1 million out of your hide, and you're going, well, that sucked. So I paid for even though I didn't go to college, I have paid for my college education.
Yeah.
Painful real world dollars.
You've gotten like a PhD, a MD, a Juris Doctorate. You've gotten pretty much all of it. And that's insane. So are you originally from Alaska? Is that where you're originally from?
Idaho.
Okay, so you just ended up in Alaska?
Well, when I was 19, I spent about 1.5 years traveling and hitchhiking around the States. And then I finally hitchhiked up to Alaska. It was really funny. When I got up to Alaska, I hitchhiked up there and I had like $10 in my pocket, 2 tarps and a sleeping bag. I didn't even have a tent. And so I bought a jar of jelly, a jar of peanut butter, and a loaf of bread. And that was like, okay, well, I don't have any money. I better make this last. And here's a funny story. I was out in the woods camping with a tarp over my sleeping bag and a tarp underneath it, not even a tent. And I had my jar of jelly, peanut butter, and bread on a stump. And I came back, hiking back to my camp, and I'd left them open. And there was this bear sniffing the jar of jelly and the jar of peanut butter.
Nope.
He was just walking
Run,
up.
Dale. Run, baby Dale.
I didn't know. So what I did is I was on the other side of the stump. I walked over there and I grabbed my jar of jelly, my jar of peanut butter, my bread, and I walked back. And damned if that bear just didn't wander down to the creek, thank God, and eat a bunch of salmon, because that was my last food, and I was not going to give it up to a bear. When I told people in town later, they were like, don't do that. Run away from the bear.
No.
Get the hell away from them. Don't do that. So that was like one of my fuck ups. Luckily, it was not a lethal one. But yeah, don't do that.
Don't entice the bear. I feel like
I'm gonna wrestle it. That was my food. I'm gonna fight for that. You feel like
that's
what?
foreshadowing. That is literally foreshadowing into how your life proceeded to go. You know what I mean? Like you were about to wrestle a bunch of bears, $2 million bears, if that. Where did you finally realize that you're gonna say where you said, okay, you know what? Enough is enough. I need to really buckle down and hone in on one craft and figure that out before I go moving into a couple others.
I think I was about 20. Well, you know what? When I was 21 and I was doing the fishing thing, I was a pretty damn dedicated deckhand. I jumped from boat to boat to boat, and I went and did every fishery up there but one. And I think the only fishery I missed out was called railhunt kelp, which is a really rare fishery. But the point is that even then I was pretty focused and dedicated. And but when I started getting into real estate is when I really started, because as a deckhand you work for somebody else, except when you're running the boat. But in real estate, I think I started buying apartment complexes and just started focusing. And buying up every 6 months I was buying more apartments, and I just kept rolling. And so that's how I got to like 250 apartments. So that was where I really learned to just focus in, and everything else, all other things were excluded. I took that, and in the public company, when I did that, there was all these different ways to buy real estate. We could issue stock and raise money and buy real estate. And I didn't go everywhere. I narrowed in on, an extremely thinly narrowed subject. And as a result, we became really, really good at it. We only did first lien, non-performing mortgages past 90 days to 180 days plus, and direct from banks only. And because we ended up doing that so well, just a tiny little niche, we did well that way. Every time I go looking all over the place, oh, there's a shiny thing, we'd add all this. I just remember to build the crank first, forget all the shiny objects, focus on building the crank, and then you can add on. Okay, so that's how I think when I was young, I managed to learn to just dig in really deep.
Right. So did you have a childhood, or were you born 21?
I was born, with a supplement in my hands and ready to sell. No, I'm kidding. No,
yeah, go for it.
Yeah, that's it. No, I did. I don't know. I had kind of it was really funny. It wasn't until I was like 18 that my life blossomed. Before that, I was just quiet, and I don't know. I thought I was quiet and reticent, and didn't do. I was an adventurer. I mean, I rock climbed and kayaked when I was a kid, and I loved that. But it wasn't until I turned 18 that I realized, wow, the whole world's out there, and I can do anything I want.
There's 48 other states? Yeah, because you're that old, man. You're that old, dude. Just so you know.
9 other states. But yeah, okay, we'll go with that. Right. But I'm that old, huh? Hawaii wasn't in there?
But, so when we think about Baby Dale and the peanut butter jar and everything, I wish there was a picture, by the way. I wish there was cell phones and all that stuff back then so we could see Baby Dale hubble over to the peanut butter and jelly and was like, no, bear, no. That takes so much balls. I don't even know how many balls you would have for that. But once you got out of Alaska, you said you moved to Albuquerque, you were doing your real estate thing. You've now transitioned into this online mentor, whether you know it or not.
I've been mentoring for about 16 years, way before there was really online anything. So I've been mentoring almost at a professional level for about the last 16 years. And what I do is I've worked with a lot of individuals, and also in all sorts of capacities, everything from I'm a startup to I've been going for a little while to I'm doing 10 million a year to I'm doing 50 million a year. So I kind of mentor a lot of these people. In the last several years, I've been doing more mentoring with incubators and accelerators and private equity guys and so on and so forth. So I'm actually a really good kingmaker, right? So I kind of come along and help somebody young and stupid reduce their stupidity a little, or save them stupid tax, right? And I just come in and say, don't do this, don't do this, right? Like I said, advice from older guys typically falls into 2 categories: get your ass moving, or you hurt yourself, and here's how to stop the bleeding, or reduce the pain and shorten the cycle. So so I've been mentoring for about 16 years. I just in this group I watched Arnie grow it. And I thought, I was in there since about, he had about 1,000 people in it. And that's kind of cool. And then Arnie reached out to me and we talked, and I gave him some really interesting ideas, of which, surprisingly enough, he implemented and grew and has been doing. He's just done some awesome stuff. I like working with guys who, if I say, hey, do this and don't do this, and they go do this and not this, and they suddenly have a huge bunch of success, I'm like, awesome. See, right? So I really pay attention to people who listen to me, or even anyone. I mean, if somebody's like out there learning, I'm like, how can I help? So I watched Arnie, and recently I just kind of started helping people out because I have a lot of experience in a lot of different things. And people are like, how do I start this, or what do I do? And I'm just trying to like very gently sprinkle a little bit of, less stupid sauce into the mix, and maybe people will be a little less stupid.
No, people will always be as stupid as they want to be.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to shorten their pain cycle, right?
And we do appreciate it as the leader of a generation. As I'm speaking as the leader of my generation, I would like to thank you for that. But I would also like to remind you that this is the same generation that eats Tide Pods. So we're
I don't even want to know. I heard about that. I didn't even want to know. I'm done. Yes.
I don't know either. I don't understand. Laundry detergent's very expensive. It's not cheap,
Whatever floats their boat or washes their boat, I really don't care, right?
I guess whatever literally washes their boat. That's fun. That's a pun, man.
So right. So I've been kind of trying to, so I'm selling my business to my business partner. I'm getting out of the business that we had, and I'm just going on down the road, and I want to go. I'm reformatting my life right now, which means
I see that.
What I want to do when I grow up, or for the next 5 years, whichever happens first. And so I'm doing a little bit of helping other businesses. I have taken on a couple businesses recently. I took over like 25% of a social media business recently, and that's really interesting. I think we're going to make a case study out of this at some point, because I came in, I took 25% of his business, and he was like a lot of social media digital agency companies. Like I'm trying to do a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah.
I got this guy over here, and I'm trying to help him with his marketing. I said, stop. You don't make money trying to fish for 1,000 different fish. You make money fishing for one fish and catching a shitload of them. He's like, what do you mean? I said, let's pick one industry and make you such an expert in it that it takes this much effort to make this much money. So we actually ended up picking 3. But here's what happens is one of them is real estate. And we went and created, because in 2016, we spent a little over $8 million on Facebook ads, right? And so we did that. I ended up with some media buyers who are really, really, really good at what they do on Facebook. So I went to them and said, we're trying to get motivated sellers to sell us their house. How can we do it on Facebook? I know how to do it on direct mail. We used to spend 15 grand a month sending out direct mail, but it's falling off in everything else. And Facebook is where I want to go. So we created this whole ad set for Facebook, which turned into this. We would pay around $130 to $250, and we got a person who'd call us up and say, I want to sell my house.
Right.
Awesome. So once we created that, I went to a couple real estate investors and said, hey, you guys want to try this? We tried it with 4 people. We're in 4 markets right now. And one of them we're just still getting up and ramped up, but the other 3 are going, and it's working fantastically. So I said, let's drill deep. So I offered it to about 10 or 12 of my friends who are real estate investors. And actually I offered about 8 or 9, I guess, but 12 people showed up and says, we're willing to do it. So suddenly his agency went from here to, I'm charging $2,000 per month plus ad spend for each one of these real estate investors. And he got like 12 of them overnight. And that's like a $24,000 a month jump in income because he drilled deeper in one specific category rather than I'm trying to make this
everyone happy. Right?
This fucking restaurant and that clothing store all more popular. It's like just drill it so deep. And the funny part is it took him and his people less time to set up all of these websites than it did for him to set up one new one in a whole new industry. And so literally it went from this much work to this much work, but this much income. And that's like the thing that that's a really good example of a mentor saying, stop doing this, start doing this, and focus, and the immediate focus. Right. I mean, it's like it's looking at having like a 30-day effect of a $24,000 a month increase in revenue. holy crap, that's awesome, right? So, and we haven't even started rolling that out. So,
Yeah.
So that's the point is you pick one thing and you drill deeper.
Huh. Pick one thing, drill deeper. There's that's the easiest way I've ever heard somebody say focus stupid. The nicest way, I guess. It's kind of like a thing. But before we get more deep into Dale, that sounded gross. Before we dive deep with Dale, we got to take a commercial break, and I will be right back.
So you got a computer, but it's oh so slow. Most people search online for answers. There's forums, there's chat rooms, search engines, but when you get there, it's in a language you just don't get. I was once in that position, feeling like I'd been left out of a world where everyone else was invited to. I hated it. But you don't have to feel like I did. Windows Hints and Tips. It's the only Facebook group which promotes problem solving without the technical blurb. Live videos, daily posts, and you can even come along and claim your very own community tag. Just go to the link bit.ly/learn-windows and find all you need in one place.
Alright, I'm finally here. Now, all I have to do is fight off the last remaining enemies. They are Ugly Two-Faced Pig Man, Fucked Up Skeleton Horse Thing, Dick-Nose Wizard, and Squidward's Reanimated Corpse. There it is, the secret to getting the best return on your marketing.
Hey there, it's Jeff Brody from the Art and Zen of Technology, and you're watching Who's This?
Welcome back. You see that? First set of commercials of the season, and they are awesome. Shout-outs to Dustin Belvin of High Mind Marketing. Shout-outs to John James and whatever he does in England, because it's kind of weird, I know. Shout-out to Johnny Mac with that awesome Dead trailer. It was fantastic. I loved it. Guys, remember, I still have some spots open for people to advertise. If you would like, absolutely, send it up. You'll see everything at the end credits. But right now, we got to get back to Dale because, oh, no. Are you still there? Sorry. I hit the minimize button on accident and freaked out, guys.
I'm still here. You didn't minimize me too much.
Oh, dear God. Scared me so bad. All right, back to Dale. He was giving the best advice ever. We left off with focus in and drill deep into one idea instead of trying to go here, here, and here, and here. And that's something we all need to hear because I think the hardest part for most of us is you want to do everything. You want to do everything. You know, you want to do real estate. You want to do sword fishing. But it seems like the best way to do it is to create one successful system before you move on. Am I mistaken?
Yeah. No, that's actually perfectly correct. What I call that income stacking, right? So you're basically, everybody's like, I want multiple streams of income, and all these millionaires have 7 streams of income. Well, let me tell you the secret to that. You don't get multiple streams until you get one really good. So I call this drilling deeper to a threshold. So you drill deep enough to you can cover you hit a threshold, which means you cover your expenses, you're living on it, you've got a roof over your head, and you're eating. So there's a certain level of comfort that you're trying to get to. So now you've achieved that. Before you go wider and drill more wells, you do go deep enough so that it can support you. Once you have that, and the next phase is to start to fire yourself from the company, removing yourself from extracting yourself from the entire thing, then you have room to start another one. But don't do it before then. Until you're making enough money to do that, I don't recommend going anywhere else. Don't try anything else. In fact, we used to do this we call this the pruning exercise. We would get in a room, business partners and me, and we'd all get in a room and we would say, what are all the things we have, opportunities we have on our plate? And we would write them all over a whiteboard, and we would systematically cross every single one of them out if it wasn't in service to our main core focus. Right? So if we were selling a supplement, let's say we're selling a supplement or something like that, we go, okay, here's this opportunity to go into retail. All right, that's one. Let's put it on the whiteboard. Here's this opportunity to add special tracking online. And we said, are we a retail company or are we an online company? we're not a retail company. So we scraped it off, and we didn't want to chase that, and we just stayed focused here. So we inserted the tracking because it was in service to growing the specific niche and the specific product, right? So everything we did, we'd pull it off of the whiteboard if it did not amplify and accelerate our main crank, right? Our main product. Do you know what a crank is? Have you ever heard that term?
Like.
Right. So a crank. So I learned this years ago. I don't know if it's a term of art or whatever, but the crank is when you build a business, what is your crank? In other words, if you turn something all the way around, at the end, it spits out $1. What is that? I mean, there's accounting. That's part of a division. Is that the crank? No. There's logistics. Is that the crank? No. The crank is the sales process or whatever it is that you do to produce something on the other side.
Service.
The service or the product that actually spits out cash at the end. And so everything I do when I tell people to do income stacking really simply is build a crank first. And everything that you want to add on, it either speeds up the crank, automates the crank, or makes the crank bigger. So instead of $1 when you go around, maybe it turns it into $10 or $100 or $1,000. So everything that's in service of growing that crank, do. Everything that's not in service of speeding that crank up or growing it, don't. Right? And that's how we stay focused, is we systematically, consciously eliminate things off of our plate and say no a lot more. And that's what I teach a lot of young entrepreneurs. It's not always getting them to say yes. For an entrepreneur, they're kind of like a wild horse that you can barely stop them from saying yes.
Put a saddle on it.
Put a saddle on it. That sounds like a song, put a saddle on it.
Yeah, that should be a good song.
Would be a good song, right? So, you're going to do, what do you call it? Harness your horse. Well, put a saddle on it.
Whoa.
So, yeah, whoa, pony. So when you get the opportunities coming to you, you should be able to say no if it doesn't speed the crank up or make the crank bigger or automate the crank or whatever. So that's it. And a really well-run business eventually turns into this crank that you don't have to have any hands on it, produces money on its own, does it at a faster pace, and does it so it consistently grows and scales. That's like a perfect crank. And then you want to do other businesses. That's when you go and you do other cranks. My style is a little different because of where I'm at. I'm more of a mentor, angel investor, or JV partner type of guy, where I will take a percentage of the person's business and say, let me help you either reduce the breakage of the crank or help you speed up your crank in one way or another. And I'll just take a percentage of the business. Now, then somebody else is cranking the whole business and I get some of the benefit from that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Can you invest $20 into my pizza fund right now?
Oh my God. Your PayPal is what?
Could you imagine? That'd be awesome. Making people buy me pizza. No. So when we think about the whole crank system, which is,
that would be your shtick. Okay, welcome to the Ashley Show. You're buying me pizza. Here's my PayPal below for buying me a pizza.
I feel like somebody would order me a pizza if I was like, hey guys, here's my PayPal. Send me $20, order me a pizza. There would be a pizza at my door and I'm trying to do better, man. I'm trying to lose weight. But you also have kids, right? In a family. You have a family. How does that even work with all the things that you're doing? How do you manage to love all that stuff?
Have a family, kind of like the most biologically simple way. Like everyone's been doing it for the last billion years.
Yeah, but it seems like families are work, marriages are work, kids are work. It's like, oh.
Well, yes. Yes, they are. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Is it work I'd like to do? You bet. So I don't have a problem with it. I was really worried I didn't have a daughter until I didn't have any kids until I was like 38. So that means I waited. Yeah, right. I was like, I sold a public company before I had kids. And so I was like, okay, cool. This is kind of fun. And so it was really cool for me. I had a little bit of an advantage because at that point I'd sold a company and I retired for about 4 years. And I kind of sucked at retirement. And so I was happy to have a kid to play with. So how do you do it? Well, first of all, what I recommend for all relationship is pick better. So many people pick the wrong person in a relationship and they wonder why they have problems, right? So pick better. Oh my God. Fundamental concept. How does that go? Pick better and your whole life is a lot easier. Then the second part is when you have kids, you're just like, I literally almost cannot remember not having her in my life. It's really weird how the brain perceives backwards through a new filter where you're like,
yes, I get exactly what you're saying.
where did Kira sleep when I was in Alaska? Oh yeah, that was when I was 21. I didn't have Kira. What the hell? It's really funny that way. So I just, I don't know. It's like breathing. You just don't even notice the change.
Huh. That's good to know. Maybe I'll adopt a little bastard every so often. Bring one in here. Maybe I'll turn it into a new show host. Who knows? You got to expand my legend, my empire, man. Can't just let it die with me. Yeah, that sounds like it. Yeah, I'm going to get a kid. I'm going to go tomorrow. I'm going to go kid shopping. Could you imagine?
What would you like to know?
What'd you say?
What would you like to know?
What would I like to know? I'm thinking of questions because I'm really excited to have you on. You are like one of the few people I actually ever listen to in the world, and you should feel honored because I only really listen to myself, and I know that I'm the only person I trust with, deep ideas. But I think you're somebody who really has lived the life. You've not necessarily pretended to live the life, and I know you see it. I know you see mentors and coaches popping up. And I said this last week too, because Lynn she's a podcasting mentor, but what is your take on all of these people who are just faking it, if you know what I mean?
Well, okay, so there's a time and place for faking it, okay? And here was an example when I faked it. I'd walk into a place and say, we're going to buy this apartment complex and we're going to do all this stuff. And they'd be like, oh, I'd only bought a 15-unit apartment complex at that time. But I faked it like I knew what I was doing, and I managed to buy another 15 units. So that was a good spot, and it allowed me to have enough moxie and confidence to pull off the private lender, the whole deal, and everything else. Great place to fake it. Because ultimately I was responsible for everything there. Now, when you fake in the coach part, the problem is you're affecting somebody else's life so directly and so dramatically, and they're really looking to you to say, I need this help. And you should identify yourself whether you're a mentor or a coach, and there's a really big difference. Coaches say, let me ask you a series of questions to help you find the answer inside yourself. Mentors say, look, I've walked over the pile of glass you're about to walk over. I've fallen down here, I've fallen down there. I can offer you something. It comes from my experience, and it may not fit your experience, but it may. Would you like it or not? So it's a different conversation, and it's also somebody who's done it, whereas coaches don't have to have done it. But when you don't really have a lot of I actually got trained as a coach. I got certified as an ICF coach. So I can do NLP certified training, coach training. Don't really care for it. Not really a coach. That's not what I do. I'm an investor who mentors businesses that I invest in, or I mentor people and sometimes don't invest in them, but I help people out. So there's a huge difference. So when I see people faking it till they make it type thing for coaching, I think it's a little bit dangerous, because you're really taking somebody else's situation and taking a little bit of advantage of them. And you're also kind of like, I don't think you're serving your customer. In fact, I think you're kind of failing at it and afraid to admit that. That's really what I think happens. I've met some awesome coaches, so I know what really good coaches are. I know the value that they bring. And I think that's what people are like, I want to do that, but not realizing that takes time and energy and effort, and it takes a while to become a good coach. So I don't recommend very many coaches at all, because I see that a lot. I just see this, I'm 25 and I'll coach you. And I'm like, well, what are 25-year-olds now?
I'll teach you everything you need to know about business. I'm 18 years old, just got out of high school, just graduated yesterday, and I'm ready to teach everybody else how to do business. And it's like, okay, you're right, kid.
Yeah.
No. Like, no, it's not happening. It's wrong. It's unheard of.
So what if that is somebody who's that incongruent really has other deeper issues. That's what it comes down to. If they're that incongruent that they think that they can pull off that coaching and go, I'm going to do all this stuff and get all this stuff and make all these people happy and smarter, and they're that incongruent, they have deeper issues, and that's just their own problem. I think the consumer just has to learn to look past the sales letter, or just learn how to assess on their own. But quite frankly, that's what we all do. We spend our whole life learning how to assess situations, people, opportunities. So it's part of their lesson. And To be honest, if somebody does go with a coach and it's not good, guess what? You've got awesome experience of fucking up and learning more. So you'll be better the next time.
Yeah, for $10,000 mistakes, they're the best kind because you'll never make them again. Never.
Well,
You remember $10,000, man. You don't forget it.
10,000. Yes, you're right. 100,000.
100,000. I don't think so. I think there's a brake pump that you can, or like a brake or a car that you can jump out of when you're on your way to $100,000 mistake. You got to jump, man.
Man, we did that $2.5 million mistake and there was no brakes. We didn't know it was a mistake until we looked out the windows and realized our car had already hurtled over the cliff, and we were like, well, let's just wait for the crash now.
We'll see. We'll see if we land. Let's do it. That's so crazy, man, to think that number one, you've been in business for 2 decades. So that's clearly something that is amazing because it's so easy to get defeated. I'm sure you already know how easy it is to get defeated. I don't have to tell you. But how do you just keep going? Like, for 20 years, I can't imagine, and it's not that I don't love what I do, but 20 years seems like, I'm 25, but it seems like a lifetime. How do you just keep
When you
going?
were born, I started business.
Yeah. It's been a long 25 years, dude.
I know. Tell me about it.
How have you not stopped?
Oh, that's my wife has asked the same question. All right. So, how do I put this? I guess I was luckily too stupid to realize that I wasn't doing something smart. So I just basically, I just didn't know to quit. I didn't know that it was supposed to be hard. I didn't know it was supposed to be this hard. I didn't know how much work it was. Thank God. Sometimes ignorance is actually a level of success because you just jump. Well, not just bliss, but it's a level of success. Like, I'm stupid enough to try this and start this, right? I think if a lot of entrepreneurs had an opportunity to look back, they would go, no, if I knew all this stuff, would I have started it had I known this on day one? So ignorance is actually a step in the right direction. If you start out stupid, you're going to get smarter, but you'll be already so far in that you'll just might as well finish. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense to me. All right, Dale, hold that thought because we do have to go to another commercial break. I promised all these advertisers that I would play their shiz. So you guys hold on 1 second. And we'll go back, and we'll be back with Dale to finish up season 2, episode 3, or season 3, episode 2 of Who's This Live.
My name is Jared Finn. I'm the creator, writer, and producer of Empowered the series. Empowered is a web series that focuses on young female superheroes who, while facing everyday issues and learning to hone their own superpowers, are faced with a threat to their very existence and finding a very close friend who has disappeared. Really, the inspiration behind Empowered can be found in a lot of Joss Whedon's work, especially Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and shows like Smallville and Heroes that I loved. And it really relies more on practical effects. I don't want to focus on special effects or CGI and just present an entertaining series without all the need for all the bells and whistles. Empowered has, I believe, an incredibly diverse cast. We have one character, Evie Tobolsky, who comes from a very close-knit Jewish family and is obsessed with Broadway, is obsessed with 1940s big bands, and it's just really focused on becoming a performer, on becoming a musician. There is Monica Baez, who's 19 years old, a single mom, attending school, working, who's also lost her mother to cancer, and in that mourning process found a love for MMA and kickboxing. And there's also Tempest Grace, who is a 14-year-old who deals with a lot of insecurity issues, who deals with social anxiety and is very unsure of herself, and has finally met a group of friends that helps her break down those walls and come to terms with herself as a member of the LGBT community, and really comes to terms with the fact that she can be empowered just by who she is as a person. And we are making tremendous headway in pre-production. We've assembled a tremendous crew. I focused on building a predominantly female crew, from our director to our location scout to our casting director and all the way down to grips and PAs. I have brought in a tremendously talented director of photography and sound engineer and director and assistant director of photography. And we are just drawing near our midsummer production date, and we need your help to cover the crew's compensation because they deserve to be compensated for their incredible work. We need some help covering props for practical effects, travel expenses for a cast member, and then any potential reshoots or finishing costs. We just ask that you contribute what you can, and at the very least, share the project.
And welcome back. How about those businesses, right? They're all awesome. I'm not sure which ones just played because, I'm a big shot with all these advertisers. Not really. But seriously, guys, if you're still interested in advertising, please hit me up. The airtime fee is just staggeringly low. Not only that, you get to be on this awesome show with people like Dale. Say hi, Dale.
Okay.
God, say hi, Dale.
Hello. All right, so we're back. Yes, absolutely.
We are back. All right, Dale. So we are coming to the closing part, and this is the fun part where you get to tell us all about who Dale is. So music, inspiration, heroes. So let's start with music. What kind of music are you listening to right now?
So I'm ADD as all get out, right? I am ADD. I am like a poster boy ADD a lot of times. So I years ago discovered that there was some music that has a certain megahertz and hertz beats wise.
Binaural beats? Binaural?
But binaural beats is one, but there's I always look for between 10 and 12 hertz, right? Which is a very, very good state for my brain to be trained to for learning or focus. So if I have to sit down and write, I put in basically trance music or EDM music, as long as it has that beat level that I'm looking for and that speed, I'm good. And I can stay focused for hours, So that's the kind of music I listen to. Other than that, I don't know if I really have a genre or whatnot. I'm not really a high music intensity person.
Right. Me either. It's cool. Don't tell people that, though, because they judge the shit. When I tell people I don't really listen to that much music, they're always like, what? How can you not listen to that much music? And I'm like, relax, all right? I get it.
I know. I've experienced that. It's almost as if listening to the music that they hate is better than not liking it. I'm like, I like rap. I like, I don't know, what would piss you off, right? Country? Let's go country, right?
I like polka. I don't know. We're going to listen to polka now for 20 minutes because then God forbid, I don't listen to music that I'm some sort of shameless idiot. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing for a whole nother day. So music we covered, and I agree with you. Trance music is one of the best types of music because it does keep you focused. It does keep you moving. It does keep you creating. And that's something that I need. Music, let's go with movies. Do you have a favorite movie?
I went 10 years without a TV before I got married. And when I got married, somebody gave us a TV, but my wife and I hardly ever watch it. It wasn't until my daughter came along that we even watched some TV, and mostly it was like Blue's Clues and other things. I'm not a big movie and I'm not a big TV guy. I just, I've seen some stuff. I just don't, I don't know. It doesn't attract me as much as life does. So I stay focused on that. Does that help? I don't know if that's almost as bad as like, you don't have a favorite music? You don't have a favorite movie? Yeah, I know, right?
No, I understand that people aren't TV people. I'm a huge TV person if you don't follow me and you don't know that. But I just can't imagine going 10 years without TV. I think I'd turn my TV on before I brush my teeth. But I enjoy TV. I also enjoy travel. Speaking of travel, where is your favorite place in the world?
Pretty much wherever I'm at. I have
Very
been to
moment of you.
Yeah, I really like it. A lot of the places I've been, I really like. Only a few places I think, I'll probably not go back there. But for the most part, wherever I've been at the time that I was there was really kind of cool.
I like that. Wherever I'm at the time is my favorite. Yeah, but I do. Yeah, I see that. I can see that because whenever I go to a new place, I'm sort of like, whoa. I'm culture shock, number one. But I'm also just like, this is the best place ever, and I'm having the best time. So, yeah, I can get with that. I like it. Mm-hmm. Let's see. We did music, movies, travel. Let's talk cars. Are you a car guy?
No. If I could go without a car, I would. The only cars that I give a shit about are like Teslas. I've driven Lambos. I've driven really fast cars. They're as you get older, you just don't. I don't want the speed, and they're fucking uncomfortable. Yeah. I was driving a Lambo and a Ferrari, and they were just like, they hurt my back. I mean, I started to sound like an old man. These fucking things are uncomfortable. I was just going, I didn't understand the allure, right? If it's a $40,000 allure, I'd rather spend like $1.5 million on a really cool property in a really cool place than I would ever on a car like that. So I just different desires. No cars.
I agree.
I mean, the only cars that I've ever liked are Jeeps because I can go out and play in the dirt in them, and that's about it. Jeeps, and so I guess that's the closest thing I come to caring about a car.
Dale, we're about kind of the same person. And if you are any indication of what I'm going to be in 20 years, I am super grateful and I'm super thankful. And I know I've never faced it.
Yeah, happy to have paid.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so we did cars. Are you a sports guy?
Nope, don't care. The only thing I did was play soccer, and I taught soccer for a little while to like 11 to 13-year-old girls, and holy crap, that was interesting. But other than that, no, I'm not really a sports guy. So
doesn't he sound like me? See, I'm telling you, my friends who are watching this are probably cracking up right now. So let's see, you're not a car guy, you're not a sports guy. Are you you're a fishing guy though? You still like fishing?
Yeah. I had this experience, and this is kind of funny. I was up in Bristol Bay, and we were catching like 8,000 or 10,000 pounds of fish in a single set in like 30 minutes, and it was amazing. And then I went back to a river, and I had this rod and reel, and I threw it out, and I was reeling it in, and I was like, I was fighting with the fish, and I finally landed it, and I was so utterly disappointed. It was one fish. It was like 6 pounds, and I was like, this has taken all of the magic out of fishing for me because this is not 9,000 pounds of fish. So, I love fishing. The funniest thing is this. I've got a really funny story to share about my daughter. She's the daughter of a fisherman. It's genetically passed down. I swear to God, it has to be. When she was little and we went out fishing a couple times, she loved catching the fish. She'd give them a kiss and throw them back. Had a blast with it, right? We were watching Monster Fish. Mm-hmm. And we watched like 5 shows of it. A friend of mine said to my wife, she said, you have to turn in your girl card because you've watched 5 shows in a row of fishing. My wife was like, yeah, I probably have to turn in my girl card. But my daughter got up and left, and I went in. I was wandering around the house. I was like, where'd she go? And she was about 8 at the time. And I found her in the bathroom playing with stuff. I said, what are you doing? She says, I was so excited watching all those fishing shows. I had to come in here to calm down. And I was just like, this is genetically passed down. This is fucking genes. This is genetic. I was like, what was wrong? She says, I was just so excited. I just want to go fishing right now. And I know we can't. And I just had to calm down. I was like, wow.
I had to take a time out, Dad. That was so awesome. That is amazing. Kids are fun.
I'd never been prouder as a fisherman.
I knew that's what you were going to say. It was just like, you're mine. We're going to keep you. Throw away the receipt, honey. She's going to stay. That's fantastic. And then so that means you must be a camping guy.
No, actually, my wife loves it to death. Hate. Listen, I lived outside on a boat in the Alaskan wilderness for 5 years. I'm kind of camped out for the rest of my fucking life.
Yeah, right? I think yeah.
Out in the outdoors. I says, you don't understand. I lived outdoors for 5 years. Fuck that. I said, I thought indoor plumbing, I thought, air conditioning and heating was like luxuries I hadn't seen in years. And so, that I was just like, no, I don't like camping anymore. Camping to me, roughing it is now slow room service. So.
Amen, Dale. Amen. Roughing it. Actually, I do like camping, but I also have not lived in the Alaskan wilderness because it doesn't quite fit my life.
I liked it before, but I don't like it now.
It sounds cold. I'm allergic to snow, so I can't imagine doing any of that. But as we end this, Dale, I have to tell you, because every show I do a tribute to my guests and I tell them how fantastic they are. And so for you, I just wanted to let you know that you are probably one of the most inspirational people I've ever met in my entire life. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm getting choked up.
Yeah.
But you really are. You are a leader. You are somebody who knows what they're talking about, and you're somebody willing to reach down to kids like me who have hard heads and soft butts and are willing to talk to us and really level it down to us and not be condescending. And it is when you're younger, when you're trying to figure this stuff out, every older person seems to be super condescending and super mean, and you just kind of don't even want to deal with them. But you've not only infiltrated the millennial community, but you're making waves in it, dude. And that is something that I'm telling you, you need to write a book, because our parents can't even do that, dude.
I've written two already. Thank you. I'll do another one. Yeah.
Yes, you wrote a book?
I wrote two of them.
2 books?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
Are they on Amazon? I only buy from Amazon.
Yeah, I think one of them is. So one of them is how to rob banks for fun and profit legally, and the other one is raising capital secrets, which is how to raise money for any business you want. Because I've raised so much money, I kind of got it down pat. So those are 2 books that I've written. One of these days I was going to, when I was hitchhiking and traveling, I collected journals. I kept journals. And the other day I ran across them and it was like, I have a pile of journals I should go through and start memorializing some of that stuff and putting it into a book, because people always ask me, you should write a book. And I'm going, when do I have time?
Right?
I will.
Right now. We should be writing it together. Stop all this production stuff. Let's brainstorm book ideas. But dude, I'm looking so forward to your podcast. I'm looking forward to everything you have in store, because I know the podcast is just the beginning of some sort of Dale News Network, and then eventually we're all going to be watching Dave instead of CNN, and I am looking forward to becoming one of your biggest fans of your show. I will be downloading it automatically as soon as it gets on Google Play. If you need any help, let me know. I will gladly do that for you.
I am technologically illiterate about all that stuff, so I will need I just want to just turn on the microphone and say, here I am. And right. So I will need some help for my technologically advanced friends.
Yeah, we're a little savvy here at the Who's This family. But Dale, once again, thank you so much, man. This has been honestly one of the most look forward to shows from me since we set it up, and it's been one of the ones that I truly know that people are going to benefit 1,000% from, and I've benefited from it. And I feel like I just robbed you out of a strategy call. But hey, if you want to do that, get a freaking podcast. As I tell you guys, do not stop podcasting. Keep podcasting. If you're sitting here thinking, oh my God, I need to start a podcast, start one. The Daily Llama is starting one, and I named it. So if you need names, you come over here. Guys, as you know, I will be back next week with another fantastic guest. I probably won't tell you who it is till Wednesday because it's none of your business. But as always, stay classy. Keep learning. And pod on, man. Just keep podding on, dude. Say bye, Dale.
See you guys. Good luck.